Michael. We are live. How are you today?
I am awesome, Martin. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing super great, super duper great. A lot of things happening right now. Super excited about this coming week and a lot of great stuff going on. So super great.
Another big week for Undercover Media. Let's welcome
Yep.
everybody to the show. Welcome to AGTP Daily. We go live, Martin, every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time to discuss the most important tech stories in the U.S. Today is Monday, the 11th of May, 2016. A lot to go over, man. Let's just get right to it. I want to cover the F1 tech gold rush. It's still going on. It's not over. Nvidia, and I think this is interesting, just a different way to look at Nvidia. They're embracing their role as an AI investor. I want to see what that's all about. There was a really good Q&A done with the Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon, and if we can get to it, we should talk about Ramp may raise another $750 million at a $40 billion valuation after, again, just a few months ago. This is like real VC stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's not 400 billion, it's not $1 trillion, but this is like regular VC stuff for real companies at a $40 billion valuation. It sounds like, what?
Yep. True.
But it's actually real. Okay, let's talk about F1 a little bit, and let's just have a little bit of a background, if you don't mind, Martin.
Let's go.
Because I think there's a lot going on here that people are not considering. And let's start with this. I think it was like last year or the year before. You tell me, because you're more of an F1 fan than I am, right?
Tell me.
Drive to Survive was on Netflix.
Oh, that was 7 or 8 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
Yes.
But I mean,
First
maybe
season,
before that, like F1 was not such a big thing in the United States, but
Yep.
these things take a while to gestate, right? To grow and for people to understand it. And this is like the modern version of, like, stock car racing has been popular in the United States forever, but like this is the real thing. These are like real cars going real speeds, and like real people are involved here. But there's a twist that's happening now.
Tell me.
The twist here is that the paddock, the place where the cars are, is that true? Like, I want to get the terminology right, yeah?
So it's the cars and their teams. Okay,
Right,
so
so the
when
cars
you
and
are
the
in the
teams are there.
paddock, you have access to the garage, and to the backstage, basically, of F1.
Right. So I think it's both things, actually, the paddock and the pit.
Okay, yeah, the pit is where like you really have like
on the course,
cars.
yeah?
Yes.
But in both places, and because you and I we haven't been in the pit, but we've been at the pit because we've been on the racetrack after quali, yeah?
Yes.
In Singapore. That's a humble brag for anybody that's paying attention.
We went there like 3 or 4 years in a row, Michael.
We did. We're practically members of the
wish.
Singapore Night Circuit. I should have brought my ticket, actually, because I have the ticket. They're kind of cool. But something's changing here.
Yeah.
Okay, and the idea, I want to give some backup information, and then I want to get into the details, if you don't mind.
Let's go.
F1 has really become a new dealing venue for venture-backed startups, especially in the United States, Miami, Austin, and Vegas. And what's interesting, and we'll talk about this too, is that during the same time that the F1 race was going on in Miami, there was also the Millikan event. So Mike Millikan has built this foundation, and people go there to talk about like the highfalutin topics of the thing. And apparently a lot of people didn't go to the Millikan thing and went to F1 instead.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the idea here is what used to happen on Sand Hill Road, which, again, you have to think about this. That's where all of the really important, like Sequoia and Lightspeed and Andreessen Horowitz and all these all the names
okay,
in the venture capital world, they would do all their business there in private.
Okay.
In the conference rooms of their buildings or some other buildings that are there on Sand Hill Road. Sand Hill Road has become literally like equivalent to venture capital in the United States. Okay. And when people talk about Silicon Valley investors, they're talking about what's happening, okay, on Sand Hill Road.
Okay.
Sometimes they did some founder retreats, and sometimes they did them at like some closed door dinners. But now what's happening is they're like, and remember, it's very exclusive there. But is there a sporting event in the United States where there's enough time that's more exclusive than F1 in Miami?
Yeah.
So what's happening now is that founders, investors, CIOs, chief information security officers, right? Because CISOs have become like an important thing, are now all going to F1. And this is a really small but very high status place to be. So if you're a startup and you're there, and the celebrities are there, and the investors are there, it's like a completely different environment now. But there's more here. Just a little more detail. Lightspeed, which was one of the VCs that I've already mentioned, right? Again, they've been around for 20 something years. I checked. They do have an address on Sand Hill Road. That's where their first thing is. They
Okay.
also have a San Francisco office. I think they've got a European office and maybe they have an Asian office. I didn't look at all the places.
Okay.
But they actually have a particular program around F1.
Okay, that's
They've,
interesting.
they've built a program around F1, which is pretty cool, bringing their portfolio companies to meet with F1 teams and their enterprise customers. Okay, and at least according to some of the articles that I read at this Miami event, some people actually walked away with some deals. They walked out of the paddock with like a handshake. And there's one more thing that I want to mention to put all this into context, if you don't mind, because the lines are blurring for me between venture capital just being an investment business and venture capital being an attention or an entertainment business.
Okay, that's interesting.
So you make that face, but like think about it.
Tell me.
Well, what's one of the most popular? So before, let's just back up, right? So before, the old VC business was like, don't talk to us, we'll talk to you. We're never going to tell you what's going on inside of these four walls of our office. Okay, it's very insider driven and very reputation based. And people used to say things like, easier for a second time founder to raise money because they already know everybody there.
I see.
You know, it's like one of these things my grandfather would tell me, which is it's not what you know that matters, it's who you know. But now, excuse me, Martin, it's like very public, very theatrical. It feels like these VCs are becoming like almost media native in a way.
Okay.
And I'll give you some examples when we get to them. And F1 is like unique in this case because it combines scarcity. There aren't many F1 events.
24, 25.
But in the United States.
Yeah, only 3 or 4, right?
3.
Like
I think it's 3.
Miami, Austin, Vegas. That's
in
it.
Vegas.
Yeah.
That's it, right? So just 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're in cool places. It's not like
Super cool.
No insult to anybody, but it's not like in like Wisconsin, in Tennessee, some small town in Tennessee, and in Appalachia.
Plus, the Austin track is one of the favorite tracks for the drivers. Like I've played F1 simulator on the F1 Austin track, and it's really cool. It's true. It's a really cool track.
But you've also been to Miami. Didn't you stay for the F1 race when we were there?
We left like just a few days before.
You thought about it. You definitely thought about it.
Really strongly.
Okay, but again, you think about it: scarcity, wealth, status, all this kind of stuff. There's tech, and remember, F1 itself is a uniquely technology business.
Yep.
Whereas in the old days, it wasn't that technologized. Now, even with the new rules, means it's almost all technology in a way.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's a natural extension of, think about one of the most famous podcasts in the United States, All In.
I would have said AGTP Inside, but yeah, we didn't.
Well, but besides AGTP Insights.
Yes,
I mean, look, there's AGTP Insights where like all the cool kids are.
Exactly.
And then there's All In where you got like the other guys.
Exactly.
But those other guys are all investors. And they do a show that's actually quite popular. It's not as popular as ours, but I mean, it is what it is.
Exactly.
Okay. And TBPN as well. Right. It's not venture capital, but it's like, how do we talk about technology investing in a way that's fun with a gong and all this other crap? Yeah.
Yes.
So if you think about it in that context, it's no longer just VC. Now it's VC with like in a tent. It's got lights, it's got action, it's got shows, it's got different opinions, and everybody wants to be part of it. Sorry,
so,
you want to say something?
Andreessen Horowitz is like always on podcast, always. He's so active on social.
I mean, Mark
media.
Andreessen, like, does he ever work, or is he just out there pontificating? But same thing for David Sachs. Same thing for
Yes. They are constantly creating content and on podcast and just there and just that, and they create a lot of content as well, right? Like the Sequoia as well. They do like so much content. They get a lot of views. So yeah, no, it's true. Actually, that's a really good point. That today VC are really public. Yeah.
Right. So let's just see who's on All In. Chamath Palihapitiya, he's the founder and CEO of Social Capital. Jason Calacanis, you know who he is. David Sachs, who I forget, he works at he's a partner at Kraft Ventures, and David Freeberg. I don't know what he does, but these guys, it's all part of theater.
Yes.
Right. So it's changing. And I think that in the context of the F1, it actually makes it really interesting. And here's the other difference, Martin, and tell me where I'm wrong. Now you have to ask yourself, because there are nuances here. Is the VC business now like an investment business and a capital business, or is it an attention and entertainment business?
Okay.
Which one is it? And what's the impact? Because capital itself used to be scarce.
Hmm. That's interesting. Okay. That's an interesting twist because the VC, like from a startup point of view, they always
Mm.
see the investors are the god of they are going to give me money, they are going to make my dream happen, right?
Right,
So
right,
the
right, right,
startups
right.
are always like, oh, I need to convince the investors, I need to make them like me and all of these things, right? Like they have
Yep.
this pressure of like, okay, I need to convince the investor they need to like me, right? So this pressure makes the entrepreneurs, the startups, like value more what the VC are going to say. So that's why they get such a huge numbers because every time a VC says, "Hey, this is the next big thing in tech," then the entrepreneurs want to listen to it because they believe into what the VC are saying. They give them so much gravitas just because they are VCs, right?
Right.
And just this name basically say, oh, okay, they must be right. They have invested into Stripe and PayPal and all of that. They must know what they are saying. So which
Right.
means that really help them on the media side to get tons of exposure. And maybe you're right. Maybe they have figured this out a few years ago. And so then they use these gravitas just from their profession, just from their jobs, right? What really creates the media that it's true, get a lot of views, right? Like the Sequoia podcast, they get like 700 views, 800 views when they get Andrew Carpati on their show. That's huge. That's a really, really big podcast. When like
Yeah.
for something like dedicated to so much deep tech, right? Because like when you listen to Andrew Carpati talks, it's not like it's accessible to everybody. But when
It's
you
not like
get
how to make brownies on the weekends. It's not
ex-
like how to make sourdough bread. It's none of that stuff.
Exactly, it's super
Yeah.
interesting, a lot of knowledge, a lot of great information, but 800,000 views for something so technical, right? It's
Right.
so impressive, right? And I think the one of the reasons why is exactly to your point is because it comes from Sequoia, who has tons of gravitas because they are investors, which definitely helps build the media part for sure.
So a couple of things are going on here. The first is, like I said, capital used to be scarce, but now there's capital sloshing around the universe. There's
Mhm,
so much
mhm,
money out there that capital itself is not the differentiating factor. But another thing is happening is that the media landscape, which used to in the old days, you could get Mark Andreessen, you could get somebody from Sequoia, you could get somebody from Lightspeed, but they'd have to go like onto linear TV.
mhm, mhm.
And what would they get? 7 minutes. We always talk about this. They'd get like a 7 minute block, and they couldn't really explain that much. And they were pretty tight lipped, which means they didn't want to they didn't want to talk about stuff they hadn't invested in yet.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make sure that they controlled the narrative around the stuff that they had invested in, and yet they didn't have enough time to do it. And then they realized, well, now the media landscape is fragmenting,
Mhm.
and now we want to talk about this all the time. We want to dominate the conversation.
Yes.
But let's get back to F1
Mhm.
because I think this matters a lot.
Tell me.
Well, you were actually the one that pointed this out to me a couple of weeks ago. But the F1 sponsorship base has completely flipped upside down.
I think I think that this is the one proof that everything that you've just said is totally true. Like when I see
Yeah,
this headline here, you should have the
right.
hottest place for
That's why I wanted to
startup
mix these two
construction.
things together, right? Because it's
Yeah.
spoken about separately. Sorry to interrupt you. I'll let you go back in a second. But spoken about separately, it doesn't make much sense. It's like, why does the medium? But
No, 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 no.
it's flipped upside down. And now, please go ahead.
It's completely, but like, I mean, Michael, just take our own use case. How many of our clients are F1 sponsors,
Well, that's the thing. So F1
right?
teams used to be sponsored by oil companies, tobacco companies, and
Yes,
banks. And
exactly. And
now it's
now,
AI, cloud, and enterprise software. Like it's just,
fintech as well. Bigger, yes.
yeah, yeah.
So the CrowdStrike, for example, the Microsoft Cloud right now, right? Anthropic, Air Wallets,
Go for it.
Revolut, Akamai, and Entity Data. All of these guys, they are all F1 sponsors and they were all on our show in the last
I
2
know,
months,
I know.
right?
That's weird, right?
Like, I think there is at least 30% across all teams of the sponsors that we are in, what we are in touch with and we are working with. It is insane for a sport that is so mass market, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That when you look at the other sports, it's airlines, it's beers, it's poly markets,
But
it's that
Martin,
type of
it
sponsors.
used to say on the
Yeah,
sorry, on the drivers' uniforms, and even on the cars, it would say like Mobil Oil
yeah,
or
yeah,
Castrol or
exactly.
like
Yeah.
Exxon, and now it says Anthropic, which a company
Revolut.
didn't even exist 2 years ago,
Exactly. No, exactly. So
right?
so that's why like all of these sponsors that we mentioned are all B2B tech companies, right? They are all B2B. And so this is really, really interesting because when you
Yeah.
think about it, like when you have an airline that sponsor PSG, when Emirates says fly better on PSG, it makes sense because that's a B2C business, right? Like you have the people who look at PSG, they may be interested into going to Dubai, they can fly with Emirates, right? But
Yeah.
nobody who is looking at F1, I mean not nobody, but like I mean the mass market are not going to become a client of CrowdStrike. This is so niche, right?
Right.
Like
Or yeah, exactly.
even
Exactly. Or
Oracle,
Akamai.
right? Like even Oracle, right? Like they do enterprise IT solutions, right? It's definitely not for everybody who is watching, right? And
Mm.
so all of these B2B tech, very huge companies, right? They are the sponsors of F1 nowadays. So that's why like when you're a startup and you want to do enterprise deal in tech, you get all of these guys who are sponsors and they are going to the race. That's the place to be, right?
And
And this is very, very impressive, and that's really, really unique, I think. There's not
and
a lot
let
of sport like this.
let's humble brag a little bit more.
Tell me.
But just so we can say it with confidence and with assuredness, we know because we've been there.
Yeah,
We sat in a box
yeah,
on turn 2
with our
in
clients.
Singapore. Say it again.
With our clients.
With our client,
Yes.
but they also had all of their clients there. And it doesn't
Yes, sir.
matter who
Yeah.
it was. But the
Yes.
point is that those boxes are already there to bring in your clients
Yeah.
to a scarce event
hmm
to make money and to
Yeah.
do deals.
Exactly.
And you know, because whether it was at the hotel
Yeah.
view or on the course, on the track, the experience was so impressive. So imagine if you're going in the paddock and you're a venture capitalist and you have a startup there, and then there are investors there. They're just like, okay, if you've brought your startup here,
It means
no
something.
matter what stage it's at,
Yeah.
they must be good
Yes.
because you only have a restricted number of tickets of people you can bring here. You can't bring like 1,000 people. Even in the
Yes.
box where we were,
Yes.
there
Yes.
was a restricted number of tickets.
Yes. And
And
plus
even at the hotel, there was restricted. Sorry, go ahead.
the people that we are going to meet there, it's Microsoft, it's Salesforce, it's Oracle, it's Revolut, it's Air Wallets. Like, I mean, this is your clients, right? Like, if you're a
Exactly.
fintech, if you're an AI, if you're a guy like this is all of your clients. And all of these people who are sponsoring the teams, they have the ticket, they have the team, they have the booth, they have all the access and all of that. So for sure, like this is, I don't know how we got to this point where Oracle, Salesforce, Microsoft, and all of these guys are the biggest sponsor of F1. I don't know what's in their mind, to be honest, because once again, I don't think like most of the audience of F1 is a potential client of Oracle, right? But they put so much money. I think the deal was
It
what
doesn't
100
matter. Here's
million.
the thing, though. What is it called? What is it called? You just said the number. What does it cost to sponsor at the high end?
I think it's like 100
To be the
million
presenting
for Red
sponsor
Bull.
for a good team, for like
Yeah, for
Mercedes
Red
or
Bull. Yeah,
for
yeah,
Red Bull or
yeah.
for McLaren, it probably
McLaren.
costs
Yeah,
like 100 million bucks.
yeah. That's like the top three. Yeah,
But
100 million per year for the audience.
per year,
Yes.
right? But what do you get? You get a car that's always on television, always in the lead, or at least always in the top 3 to 5,
Yeah,
and they're always saying the name. And
yeah.
periodically they'll say the sponsors. You see it going by,
Mm.
and that's what 24 events every year.
24 events. Yeah.
So it's practically half the year.
Yes.
And from a marketing standpoint, for a company like Oracle, where if they get like 2 new clients a year, that could be 100 million bucks. Plus the
Nice.
cachet, just the pure
Yeah,
cachet,
that's a pure cachet. Yeah.
the
Plus, like,
pure prestige that you get. Like, you guys sponsor,
mm,
and then people can ask you for favors. Hey, can we go to the event in Miami? Do
yeah,
you guys
yeah,
have a box there, kind of thing?
yeah.
And then once that happens, but here's another thing, Martin. That is for companies like Oracle. And again, you know, I love doing this. Okay, let's just use Oracle and Salesforce as an example. Oracle
Yes.
revenue. You know, I love doing this.
While you do that, I will say to the audience that every time we work with a new company, the first thing I do is I check on Google if they sponsor F1.
Right? Exactly.
Because then I'm like, great, we have an opportunity to work with them during the Singapore Grand Prix.
So I feel like every big enterprise company has the revenue in like the same range. The trailing 12 months revenue for
50, 55?
close enough, $64 billion for
64,
Oracle.
okay.
But let's do Salesforce as well,
Okay,
because I want to make a point about this
okay.
in the context of venture capital.
Tell me. tell us in the chat while I'm actually searching that if you like F1, if you watch F1, and
Yeah, yeah.
if you pay attention also to the sponsors of F1, because this is the big story here, right? Like over the years,
Right.
that's really evolved, and today it's really B2B tech. Like all the companies that we talk about in the
Exactly.
show, all the companies that you see, that you use on a daily basis in your business are actually the sponsors of these sports, which is very different compared to all the other mass market sports.
So
Mhm.
Salesforce, again, in the same kind of range, $41.5 billion.
Okay. Oh wow.
And
Okay.
I'm not making predictions, but my guess is this is kind of off topic, but we spoke about it a few days ago on the show. Once they get all their agentic stuff, once people
Yeah,
start
that's gonna be
understanding that they
huge.
can interact with an API, like my guess is that their revenue is going to go up a lot.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Again,
No, I totally agree.
I'm not giving stock market advice, but I'm just saying my perception here is that as a SaaS tool with a real moat,
Can we invest into F1? I think we should invest into F1 because the AI war, the AI marketing war has already started. They are going to put so much money into F1. Those guys are going to make so much money. I really want to invest into F1 right now.
so the point I wanted to make is this, Martin.
Yeah, tell me.
And I don't know if you know this, maybe you do. So Salesforce, I get it, $41 billion. They invest 100 million bucks in advertising, in sponsorship. Nobody cares.
True,
Right.
true,
It's a
true.
lot. It's a tiny line item in a massive marketing budget. Same thing for Oracle.
Mm,
And I think it's an effective way to advertise. Like, I'm not even making fun of it. I think it's a super effective way because, again, your wealthy B2B clients are there and they're like, you know
exactly.
what? We really should be
It's
working
fun.
with Oracle. Why aren't we? And they invited us to the one in Miami. And I think we're going to go to the one in Vegas. And they flew me out for the one in Singapore. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
How
no,
come
for
we're not
sure.
working with them
For
closer?
sure, for sure. It's fun. That's the event part. That I think F1 has done so well. Like really, they
Yeah,
went
yeah.
from just a race, right, to a real spectacle, right? Like even if you're not an F1 fan, you go to an F1 race, you love it. It's such a
So
great
I
spectacle.
remember the first time you told me you were
Yeah,
going on F1. This is like 4 or 5 years ago with
yeah,
Ara,
yeah.
and I was like, I don't. Why am I going to watch cars go in a circle? Like I've
And
never liked racing.
and then you come and you're like,
And then I went, and I'm
wow.
like, can we go again next year? Like we talked about it all year.
They do such a great job at making such a nice spectacle. They do concert, and then you have exactly like this private booth in which we were at like a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
which you can invite your client and your
Mm.
prospective client and the people that you want to work with. And once again, all the B2B tech guys, they are there. I think you're right. I think the cachet is really important. Right? F1 is a luxury. F1 is beautiful. F1, it's like it's the high end, right? It's
And
really
it's really
it's
exclusive,
exclusive.
Martin. I
It's
mean, you remember
super crazy expensive.
when
Yeah.
we were walking around doing recordings there that first
Yeah.
time or the second
Yeah.
time,
That's good. That's a really good example. Yeah.
we would walk around and we're like, "Where are you from?" And they remember that one kid was from Brazil,
Yeah, exactly.
and we were
You're
in
right.
Singapore, and he was alone, and we're like, "What are we doing?"
Exactly. Also, do you remember like how many CTOs and CIO and like
Yeah.
founders of like really big companies? We were
Yeah,
so
remember
surprised,
we
right?
recorded with the other guy from Phoenix, right? And he was
Exactly.
just like he was just some dude having a beer, and we're like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I'm the CTO of this big tech company in Phoenix, Arizona." I'm like, "Okay,
Exactly, like just the
yeah,
crowd themselves, this is the same like B2B type techy audience, right? So that's why maybe it's
right,
actually made sense, right? Maybe like the demos for F1 is like actually the B2B tech guys, right? Who are actually
exactly."
building tech. And so that's why then made sense that Salesforce, CrowdStrike are
And I and I,
sponsoring, right?
and I bet if you went there, I want to get back to one other thing before we switch because there's some interesting stuff here. But I bet if you'd gone to an F1 race 20 years ago, the senior executives would have been from the oil companies, from the
Yeah.
steel companies, from the other, from the other companies, because they were the
Mhm.
ones that were sponsoring as
Mhm.
well.
So let's be fair, like it's Mercedes, Petronas, so they're still there, right? Like all
Yeah,
company are still like
but Petronas is they don't have. Well, I don't know this because I don't live in Malaysia, but Exxon is like a globally known name.
okay.
Like you could say to your mother, Mobil. She would know what Mobil is. She
Yeah.
would know what Shell is. She
Yeah,
would know what
Petronas,
Exxon is, but she
they
doesn't know
definitely know, yeah.
Petronas.
Yeah, that's always. I mean, I think Petronas actually bought some shares into Mercedes, so that's why they get that. They don't pay the same price as the other.
No, no, no.
Um, but also wait, let me check Aramco because Aramco was everywhere last year and
Yeah,
the
and
years
so
before.
2 years ago they were there. All this stuff about like renewable energy and how they're
It's
gonna,
all
you
gone.
know what I
It's
mean?
all gone. One day we should do a talk about that. But I think that if like AI completely killed the renewable energy uh,
Yeah, because
momentum.
it's hard to like be really careful about energy when all you're doing is like burning water and
Yeah, like really, like they completely killed it. So that's a topic for another day. But one day we can talk about that, like, about like how the narrative completely switch from we are going to save the planet to we need more energy for AI, right? Which
o-
is interesting to
okay.
me.
Here's another thing that I want to talk about in the context of F1 and venture capital.
Tell me.
VC firms and the PE firms that actually make investments into some companies are actually going beyond sponsorships, Martin.
Okay.
They're buying teams as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So Doralton Capital, a company I've never heard of, acquired Williams Racing in
Yes.
2020.
Yes, we did.
But you hadn't been thinking about it. You know
Yeah.
that now, but you hadn't been thinking about it. But think about it. And Otro Capital, Redbird Capital Partners, and Maximum Effort Investments put 200 million euros into Alpine.
Mm. It's huge, huh?
But
I
there's no
think
there's no return. Do you know what I mean?
so. There is when you want to sell it. Like Toto Wolff when he built or bought, depending on how you want to see that,
Yeah, but this is
Mercedes.
I get it. I get it. Toto Wolff did an amazing job, and he built Mercedes into this thing. Did he sell his thing or no?
No, not yet. But if you want to sell right now, that would make him a billionaire. And
Yeah, but
by the way, Toto Wolff was an investor before he did that
yeah,
with Mercedes. So to your point, Toto Wolff saw that coming 15 years ago,
right.
even
But
more.
he left his investment business to
Yes,
then
yes,
invest his life and his time and his money
and
into
his money.
Mercedes.
Yeah,
But my
and
point is that these other people, their normal way of making money is taking other people's money, organizing it into a fund, and then investing it into tons of startup companies
yes,
or private equity,
yeah.
and then getting a return when that after a specific, probably predetermined period of time,
Mhm.
with a strategy to like turn that business around or change the way the revenue is, and then sell it on.
Yes.
But did Doralton Capital and all these other companies put money into Williams Racing and Alpine just so they could sell it later?
It looks like, yeah, actually, that's a really fair question because if you want to sell, that's going to take a lot of time, right? And that's really betting on the sport to become bigger, which it is growing right now. So that's not like a crazy bet, but how long is it going to take? But then there's also people who buy NBA team, who buy soccer team. So maybe that's like a similar type of thing where F1 has much more growth potential, I think, compared to
It,
soccer
it
at
is, it
least.
is, but the point I'm trying to make, it is, but the point I'm trying to make is that the venture capitalists are now using this as kind of a media spectacle for themselves to actually get deals done, for them to
Okay.
invite other investors in to invest in some of their portfolio companies.
Yeah.
And I don't think investing in the team itself is going to help doing that. And I don't think that my point is, I think they're taking their own money,
Mhm.
not their fund money,
For some fun. At F1.
well, also for some of the prestige as well, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
for 200 million bucks, you can say I own a piece of Alpine.
Yeah. But also, like, there's a lot of example actually. When you look at things from this lens, for sure, Toto Wolff started Mercedes in the early 2010s, I think. Like it started maybe just before that, 2008, 2009, and then he built Mercedes into the huge team that it is today.
Yeah.
Then you have Williams that got acquired a few years ago after being really, really, really bad for a couple of years because it was the Williams family who were still managing it, and then the dad got old, which is a normal thing in life. You get old at some point, and then you just couldn't manage the team, and so they sold it. But also the Aston Martin,
Aston
right?
Martin, yeah.
So Aston Martin, that's the founder of is it what's his company name? So that's the guy basically who blew
Yeah.
up like brands like Ralph Lauren, Michael Kors. He made them super 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 famous. If you ever bought one of these thing, which Michael actually you are raving right now, that's thanks to him. So he has a lot of money, and
Lawrence Stroll was
Lawrence
this
Stroll,
guy. Yeah.
exactly. And so he bought the F1 team, he bought Aston Martin, and he just merged them together.
Mm.
And so that probably could be seen as an investment thing as well, the same way Toto Wolff has done that. So there, no, it's true actually. Like all the deals, all the recent deals could definitely be that. Yep, it's true.
Yeah. And a few more things, right? Because I think this is kind of important.
Mhm.
Again, according to one of the investors that was there, the paddock itself and the pit, it acts as a filter.
Mhm.
So by the
It's true.
time you get there,
Yeah.
the room itself, whether it's the paddock or the excuse me, or the pit, has already done the sorting for you. Like
Okay.
you and I, we were outside the pit, we couldn't get in,
Mhm.
and the tickets to get into the paddock are very, very
Yeah.
expensive.
Yep, 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 yep. I think it's
And
like
everybody who's in the
$500.
room has capital. They've got
Yeah.
deal flow. Do you know what I mean? They can
Mhm.
drop money easily.
Yeah, it
So
looks
the
like
room is the filter. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it looks like that's the place to be, right? It looks like F1 has become the place to be for B2B tech, which is so smart when you think about it,
Very.
because if you are CrowdStrike, Oracle, Microsoft, F1 is the only one that has this positioning, and that's the only media platform, the only sports that has millions and millions and millions and millions of fans globally that has a
Right.
B2B tech positioning. Nobody else compete with them on this angle, right?
No, 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 no.
So which means they can control pricing from the sponsorship side. They can really control like who is going to be on the paddock. They can like do all these things, right, without too much struggle, because it's so hard to get an audience of B2B tech people, and F1 has done that. So
Yeah,
kudos
and
to
also
them.
imagine if you're a startup founder and you're
Mhm.
doing like your Series D or your Series C. So you're already out
Yeah,
there, but you need to raise a little bit more money
yeah.
or a lot more money, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And then your previous round was signed at the paddock, at the Miami or at the Vegas or at the Austin F1 race. So then when you meet new investors, they'll be like, so, who are your previous investors? Where did you meet them? And you're like, well, I met them at the Miami
Vegas.
F1 race. It's just like everybody wins.
No, it's true. It's true.
You know
It's
what I
true.
mean? Like you're laughing, but you would do that.
No, for sure. I would do that definitely every day. But I think also like Michael, yeah, what is really, really interesting and what we should share with the audience is that it's only going to accelerate. This is going to get way,
Yeah,
way
yeah.
bigger because of AI. Like AI, we are just seeing the first investment from Anthropic. I predict that OpenAI is going to put tons of money into it. I wouldn't be surprised that next year there's a team that is McLaren OpenAI.
For
I
sure.
wouldn't be surprised at all, right?
No,
Like
no, no.
they are going to come and they're gonna 10x what Anthropic did, and then we are going to see Cursor, we are going to see Vercel, we are
Sam,
going to see.
I heard Sam Altman was thinking about becoming an F1 driver.
I don't think he has the strength, or the much more physical strength to be able to do
He's
that.
not distracted enough. This is what he's
True,
saying.
true. He needs another things to do. But yeah, but I think this is going to just accelerate like crazy
I don't think
because
you're wrong, actually.
because I mean like, if you look at the progression, like how did we get there? The
Right.
first one, as you said, like the old company. Then I think in recent years, more like B2B tech stuff, I think the crypto guys were the first to go into F1
Yeah, yeah.
around like the early 2010s, right? Like the
Maybe.
crypto.com, the Kraken. I think Kraken as well was a big sponsor. I think that was the first to start to put, to link the tech side and also the sports.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
then fintech and B2B tech definitely to cover Microsoft, Oracle, Revolut, like all of these guys. Also, like the movie, Michael, to your point, the movie
2020.
from Apple, the movie from
Yep.
Apple like 2 years ago. No, it was not 2020. It was like two years ago, maybe. F1, just the movie F1.
Movie F1, yeah, with Brad Pitt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the main sponsor of the team is the fintech, and you see them everywhere. like
Ah,
the,
in the
like
movie.
in the movie
Yeah,
itself,
yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
team that they represent is a B2B fintech. It's a bank, I think, or
That's
they do
hilarious.
payments. So so my point is it went from crypto to fintech and B2B tech. Now AI is the next one. AI is way bigger than fintech. It's like crazy
And way bigger than crypto, to
crazy
be fair.
numbers and way bigger than crypto as well. So that's why I think we are going to see way more of that because of AI in F1. It's going to just be so much bigger, which is good, I think, which is really good.
So Bitcoin's market cap is $1.6 trillion.
Okay.
That's going to be the market cap for Space XAI alone.
It's true. Wow. When you think about it, yeah.
Okay.
It's true. And so like
And
and
there's not another coin that's worth even close to $1 trillion. Ethereum's the next biggest one. It's 281 billion market cap.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So which
So
means
you're
like
right. AI is way bigger than everything else.
way bigger. But
Way
like
bigger.
it's much bigger because there's much more client, first of all, right? Like much more
I mean, does Bitcoin have a
revenue.
use case? Don't get me going.
Sorry if you really believe in Web3. But yeah, no, I mean AI has much more clients, has much more use. I mean, we
Mhm.
spend way more money in AI than we spent money in crypto, right? Like way more, and it's not even close.
Not even close.
And also like there's way more people involved into the AI stack, right? You have the models, you have the data centers, you have the chips, you have the power. Now that you are going to have space at some point as well. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the AI ecosystem to give it give AI the scale that it needs to be able to meet the demands, right? It's not
Exactly.
just like I create my coin and then boom, you can do transfer, right? And I put stablecoin into a different category because they do something else, right?
But it's not a crypto thing. Like
Yeah.
stablecoin's not a
Okay.
crypto thing.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just
We can
not.
say that. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think we can say that. I think this is
Yeah.
definitely fair to say that they use the blockchain tech, but to do instant payments. But there is no Web3 angle to that, right?
Not really.
So yeah. So if we put stablecoin aside, because that's not Web3, then I mean F1 AI is just so much more useful and so much more global as of today, right? And I think it's just gonna make F1 even more than what we see right now.
Just a few more things, right?
Mhm.
So you could say that like a bunch of stuff happens at the Super Bowl as well,
Yeah.
or at the World Cup,
Hmm.
right? But the reality is that the way those events are structured, they're not conducive
Hmm.
to making deals.
Hmm.
Not in the same way.
Hmm.
It's just weird, right? Like the race itself is kind of ancillary to the event at an F1 thing.
You just want to hear the engine. No, it's true. It's true. It's
Just
true.
want to hear the
It's
engines going by. Like, but remember,
yeah.
Martin, when we were in the booth, right? In the
Hmm.
box,
Hmm.
was anybody really talking about the race?
Yeah. No, it's true. You want to talk about business. Yeah.
They were talking
It's
about business. They were at the
yeah.
race. That
Yeah.
was the reason to be there. But when you're
Yes.
at the Super Bowl, you're watching the game.
Yes. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. No.
And when
In
you're at a
F.
World Cup soccer game, because like you can't miss anything. Like if for an F1 race, there are, I don't know, 67, I don't know how many laps there are, but like
Depends on the rush.
but it depends on the track. But in on any individual lap, there's not that much going on. Like
No,
the
this.
start's exciting.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And it's, when you think about it, it's crazy when you have people who go to a race, they spend ton of money for even not even watching the race. Most people actually don't understand what's going on because F1 is so
So technical. Yeah, I remember asking
technical.
you, like, what just happened?
Exactly, and that all the strategy and the tires management, and no, it's a mess, really. Like it's not
Yeah.
something that you can just watch for the first time and understand what's going on. So yeah, you're right. Actually, people
They're
don't
not even
watch the
watching the
race.
race. But at the Super Bowl, they're like, they're watching.
Yeah, just maybe it's
Because
much
every
easier
play
to
could matter.
understand.
Every play could be a
Yeah,
touchdown. Every play could be an interception.
yeah,
Every play could matter.
yeah, yeah. But
So
F1,
I don't think the
it's
same level of deals getting done. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, no, it's true. It's true. It's true. In F1, you want to go there for the cachet, right? You want to say I was at F1. You want to take your picture with a glass of champagne close to the track with the cars in the back. That's what people want, right? And so if you can provide that to people by inviting them to your booth, then you can make the deals. It's very straightforward at the end of the day,
We
right?
should have our own booth.
I wish, Michael. Maybe maybe we should start contacting the F1 Singapore Grand Prix right now.
If we know anybody that has a box, maybe we should talk to them. But that's a story for a different time. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, super cool. But we are going to see much more of that, and this is going to be very interesting. Yep.
very interesting. Okay, let's talk about Nvidia.
Let's talk about Nvidia.
In the past, we spent a ton of time already talking about Nvidia
Mhm.
on this show, right? Because Nvidia, like, it sits in this fulcrum at this intersection of like all the other AI companies.
Mhm.
Right? If we talk about OpenAI, we have to talk about Nvidia. If we talk about Anthropic, if we talk about Cursor, if we talk about literally any other AI company, most of them are running their models on Nvidia's GPUs.
Yes.
So we have to talk about Nvidia's roadmap for GPUs. What are they doing on the CPUs? All this stuff. We had to talk about their full stack implementation, their data center stuff, all this stuff. You cannot get away.
Yeah.
Excuse me from talking about Nvidia. But in this case, I don't want to talk about that necessarily.
Mhm.
I want to talk about how Nvidia has committed over $40 billion this year in equity investments just in 2026. We're really at the beginning of May. I mean, okay, it's
True.
May 10th or May 11th, excuse me.
True. Yeah.
But that's $40 billion, making it one of the most aggressive corporate investors in AI this year. And that's a huge acceleration from the total of $17.5 billion that they spent on private investments in all of 2025.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's already 2.5 times more. And we still have another 2/3 of the year,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit less,
Mhm.
maybe 3/5 of the year left to go.
Mhm. Mhm.
And their single biggest bet is a $30 billion stake in OpenAI.
Oh wow. Okay. They put 30 billion into OpenAI out of the 40. Okay.
Yeah. But here's the one thing I want. Here's another part of this that I want to talk about.
Mhm.
In the same way that I think that like some of these private equity companies and these venture capital companies that invested in Williams and that invested in Alpine. I mean, look, you can talk about Alpine. This is not the best F1 company,
No, but
which is
that's
why I don't think they're doing it for a return. I think they're doing it for the prestige. Because they couldn't buy Red Bull, they couldn't buy Mercedes, they couldn't do that stuff, right? So what is Nvidia doing? Are they investing in these companies for capital gains? Or if you look at it, I don't think it's just a financial thing. And we've talked about this, but we've never talked about it specifically in like an entire segment.
tell me.
Well, this deal that they did with OpenAI came in essentially it was like bundled with multi-year compute commitments from
Exactly, yeah. They want them as a client as well, right?
right. So this is the funny money that we talked about, but now it's getting written about.
Yeah, okay.
So all this stuff that we've been talking about is now getting written about.
Of course.
Okay.
They are all listening to AGTP, so
They're all listening to AGTP and just thinking, okay, well, if they're talking about it, we have to talk about it.
exactly.
No, but you understand the difference, right? In other words,
Yes.
they're not making an investment per se. They're going, in a way, I don't want to use the word that I'm thinking in my head, but everybody that's out there knows if you're doing something for yourself, to yourself, you know what the word is. But the point is that like they're giving money to OpenAI and to other companies that's on a smaller scale and saying, if we do that, you have to use some of this money to sign multi-year contracts with us to buy our stuff.
Yes, and we saw the same thing with AWS, with Microsoft. They say, hey, we are going to invest up to like that amount of money based on how much you spend with us, basically, right? Like it was like exactly that. It was explained this way, and so they don't even try to hide it, right? Now it's what they are doing for real, right? So
exactly.
So this is where it's really funny, right? But also it's true because it made some big deadline, right? At the end of the day, that's what they want.
It's perfectly logical, but like like the word invest is now taking on a completely different meaning because it turns out that OpenAI is now one of Nvidia's largest customers.
Okay.
And vice versa, one of its largest equity positions.
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, it makes sense, right? In a way, it makes sense. Like if you want OpenAI to buy your chips, what's the best way than you just invest into them and then you force them to buy from you, right? So in a way, it makes sense to me. It makes sense. It's just that this is the bubble part of AI, right? That's the bubble part because every numbers look huge because everybody invests a big number to get money back because they invest into their clients, right? So if you actually the real money that Nvidia is investing into OpenAI, like the real ones, the one that they lose for real, right? Okay, like the equity part.
Like OpenAI goes bankrupt. At the end of the day, they're going to lose this money as what?
Yeah, is what? Exactly. That's the real number that they actually invest in the normal sense of the word invest, right? But they don't talk about the investment of maybe 4 billion. They talk about the investment of 30 billion. That makes for a much bigger headline, right? And so this is the bubble part of AI where all the numbers are inflated, all the numbers are way bigger because they include the revenue of the next 8 years into the deal, right? So I don't know why they do that, to be honest. I mean, to announce like such a huge number because they have nobody to compete with. Like really, except the Chinese guys. That's really it, right? Like if you look at a higher level, like everybody knows what's going on, so that doesn't impress anyone, right? That's why. Like, why do they need to announce such big numbers all the time? That's
It's almost embarrassing for me. I've been following venture capital for almost 2 decades.
Okay.
And in the old days, if you're like someone just did their Series A, they just raised $100 million, you'd be like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And now I want to talk about Nvidia putting $3.2 billion into a company called Corning, which has been around for hundreds of years.
Okay.
Not hundreds, but 175 years.
Okay.
They're the ones who make the Gorilla Glass or the glass that goes on iPhones, right? So it's a very famous company. It's not like some tiny unknown company.
Okay.
And they also make cookware. But they've been around for a while. But like Nvidia is investing $3.2 billion, and it just sounds like money they would find in the bottom of their couch. Do you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't seem like that large. But sorry, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I mean, they had like a valuation of what, $4 trillion recently?
It's the highest valued company I think in the world right now.
I think Google surpassed them just a few days ago.
Maybe, but it's close. You know what I mean?
Yes. Nvidia valuation, but so that's what I think with capitalization 5.3 trillion. It's huge. Google. It's a 5 trillion. So, okay, I need to change.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Nvidia 4.6 trillion, Alphabet 3.89 trillion, Apple 3.81, Microsoft 2.85, and Amazon 2.58. But that's as of May 2026. So,
Okay. I think
but I
it's
mean, it
cheap.
varies every day, right? Because the stock market
Yeah.
does what it does. It goes up and down. So who knows? But again, the top five, we know who they are.
Yeah. So that's why like $3 billion out of 4 trillion. That's super tiny, right? Like it is a really, 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 really small piece, right? So that's why maybe also
It's
like feels
crumbs.
like when did Michael, the first company, pass $1 trillion
Apple was the
valuation?
first $1 trillion company, and I don't know
And
when it.
when
But
was that? But it was recent, right?
yeah,
2020?
last couple of years. When did
Yeah, it was.
Apple cross $1 trillion valuation?
So it was like not so long ago, right?
No, it was a while ago, 2018.
Okay, but still, 2018. So it took like what, 30 years, 40 years for Apple to get from 0 to 1 trillion,
Oh my,
right?
30 years.
30 years. And now we're talking about
30
four.
years? No way.
I
Apple
have
was
no idea.
founded in 1976.
Okay, so 50 years. I always
48
get
years.
this
Yeah,
wrong. I
exactly.
always get this wrong. I always like in my mind,
It
Apple
was
was formed in
1997. It started in
right.
1997, the year you were
Exactly.
born.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, I owe you one.
No.
But so yeah, so
Everything
what?
started the year you were born. That's what you think. Sorry,
Yes,
go ahead.
that's what I think. But yeah, but so we also seen like a huge acceleration in tech in the last 4 or 5 years, right? Because like we
Yeah.
go from $1 trillion, the largest company in the world in 2018, to like 4 or 5 right now, as of today, still so 7 years later only, right? So
Right.
so that's why like, also like I think you get to put that into perspective as well, where when a company is worth $1 trillion and they make like $1 billion bet, that's like a thousandth of their valuation. Now, thousands of their valuation is $4 billion, right?
Yeah.
So are much larger than they were before. That's my point.
Yeah. And these investments are actually pretty interesting. I wanted to talk about the
Mhm.
Corning one, and then I want to talk about some other stuff too, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So they put $3.2 billion into Corning. It sounds like a weird thing to do, right? But Corning pledged to boost domestic fiber optic production. So what is Corning? They're a glass company.
Okay.
So what is fiber optic cable made out of?
Glass? I don't know.
Glass.
Okay.
It's weird, but like it's a different kind of glass, obviously. But they pledged to boost their domestic fiber optic production by 50% and build 3 new factories in North Carolina and Texas. And the reason why is because next generation artificial intelligence chips that Nvidia is making and other companies are making are pushing up against the limits on a throughput perspective from copper
That's
wire.
This is really interesting. You know what? This
Yeah,
is
that's why I
really, really
love
cool.
talking about this kind of tech because it
Yeah.
doesn't seem related to anything. But once you realize, like, copper
And
itself is actually has pretty good throughput, but fiber optics is better, and fiber is the replacement here. So it's the same type of thing that they're doing. They're investing in it so that they can have their own capacity on the
to just
chip side, have a place to actually do its throughput.
and so then we can
That's
put
kind of cool.
and so then we can put fiber optics into everyone's homes, right? Like
But also into the
that
data
into the
center.
bed.
It's also they
The
want
data
it in the data
centers.
center. More importantly, they want the data
Okay.
center then to connect to the people that are using. It's not so much a home thing. It's
Okay.
more like B2B thing where the data center now can have this massive throughput out to other businesses that are using the inference artificial intelligence that's getting produced inside of those data centers.
So they would connect the data centers to the businesses themselves, like the same way the banks were connected to the stock market.
To the exchange. That would be my
Okay.
guess. I don't know that level of detail, but
Okay.
again, the more fiber that's out there, the faster the throughput is for everybody.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's really interesting. But also, like, how is the connectivity in the US right now? Because in France, not everybody has access to fiber optic, right? So like I don't know like how good the coverage is, right? But maybe this is also another bet on the B2C side to say, actually, you know what? Like the part of the population that
Could
doesn't
be.
have access to fiber optics is actually huge, all right? And if people want to access to AI, like really, really quick AI, the throughput is going to be the bottleneck, because if you have slow internet, whatever we do, the AI is never going to be fast, right? So we got to scale that up basically. And maybe because in our Western civilization we got internet much earlier, so
Right.
which means there is like a lot of legacy infrastructure that are
For
really hard
sure.
to remove. And so that's why I asked, like, what's the coverage in fiber optic right now? Because maybe it's not that good. Maybe it takes so long to connect all the villages, all the rural
So
areas, and all
the
that.
connectivity in the United States is way worse than it is here. But let's talk about
Yeah,
why.
for sure.
I don't know about France, but I
Yeah,
do know that when I try to talk to you, I feel like
it's
I feel like
horrible, my friend.
you're on like a moon
Like,
landing in like
like
1967.
nobody in my family has fiber optic. Let's start
Not
there.
even your sister at down where she's living?
I think she doesn't even have Wi-Fi. My sister, she lives into another world. So
That's
let's
funny.
not take
She's a
her.
bad example. But your brother doesn't have it? Like
I think my brother doesn't. My mom, she doesn't
definitely doesn't
neither.
have it.
My dad doesn't have it. I think my grandpa maybe because he lived into the city, so
No,
he would be my best
grandpa
guest.
has the best connectivity.
He would be my best guest. But you see, like out of my family, like they don't even have fiber optic. It's crazy when you think about it because we had that in Thailand since forever, right? I've
So think about
never.
this. Who provides your internet?
It's AIS, yeah,
Right. So you have AIS.
yeah, yeah.
I have True.
Hmm.
And one of the reasons why both of us have gigabit Ethernet at home is because True competes directly with AIS.
Yes, 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 yes.
And the only way that they can beat each other is by getting faster, better service at cheaper prices.
Hmm.
In the United States, my understanding is, particularly in the big cities, that service is provided by the cable companies.
Okay,
And the cables in any individual city are monopolies, at least in a lot of cases.
okay.
So what's their incentive to make the service better?
Not much, not much.
I bet you have
Unfortunately,
way better service than most people in New York have.
that
Most
would
people,
be the
not
case.
everybody, but most, yeah.
That's why maybe there is a real opportunity for B2C connectivity as well, right? And maybe
Yes.
that's part of the bet that they are making. And I think it's crazy that we talk about that when you think about it. Like we talk about high-end tech, frontier model, AI, and actually people need internet.
Martin, I have
People
better
need
connectivity
fast
at
internet.
Moza than my brother probably has at home.
When you think about it, it's so funny, right?
He's
Like
gonna hate me for saying that, but yeah.
maybe actually it's true that's the one problem that nobody talks about yet because we didn't touch upon that yet, and maybe that's the bet here from Nvidia. They are like, in 1 year it's going to be the one biggest problem that everybody has. If it happened at this matter, that would be so funny, to be honest, that we put billions of dollars in data centers and frontier model and people just need internet. you know
Right, more than anything else. And there's more here.
yeah.
We don't talk about this a lot on this show, but this is a reality, is that there's also a geopolitical angle to the Corning deal. Remember, we did a segment about Nvidia, I don't know, last week or the week before, and they were talking about how their market share in China is now zero.
Yes, it's zero. Yep.
And, China related to what's happening in Taiwan and Vietnam and all this other stuff. Nvidia wants to make sure that it's reducing its supply chain exposure in any way that it possibly can to places where they don't have as much control.
Yes, makes sense. Yeah.
And Taiwan is probably one of those places. And think about this too. I didn't double check this, but Corning stock
Hmm.
is up 110% year to date,
Oh wow. Oh wow.
and 320% over the last 12 months,
Oh wow, it's huge.
because people need more fiber, probably. People don't need more Pyrex cooking gear.
This is crazy. If this is true.
Um, and this is Corning's second big tech deal of 2026. Meta signed a $6 billion fiber optic supply agreement with them in January. So it's weird how like a company that makes glass for the iPhones, but also makes glass cookware. You don't know because you don't cook. But I bet the people that that do cook know what Pyrex is.
Okay.
And Pyrex is the brand that they use, that
Okay.
they make, I think.
Okay. But that sounds like
Um,
a real big company. They are making a lot of things, yeah.
yeah. So that's an interesting investment as well. And just a couple more things. They invested $2.1 billion into IREN, which committed to deploying 5 gigawatts of NVIDIA's infrastructure globally. CoreWeave got a $2 billion stake back in January. Nebius also received $2 billion, and optical networking companies each received $2 billion as well. And essentially what they're doing, and I just want to point this out because they're not trying to pick winners, and this is what Jensen Huang is saying, but they're also investing in their own sort of infrastructure ecosystem.
Yeah.
All the companies that are necessary for them to thrive,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's data centers or optic fiber, whatever, they're investing into those companies as well.
Yeah, this is nice to watch, right? Because I mean they have so much money, they are so big that when you make a 2 billion, 5 billion, $10 billion investment into a smaller company, that can make a huge difference. But for you, at the end of the day,
Sure,
it's
sure,
not
sure,
that
sure.
much money, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, this is going to consolidate the position of Nvidia. Plus, we see a lot of emerging competitors, right? Who are making chips, who are making GPUs. There's a lot of people now who are in this market, right? So
Yep.
nobody yet close to the scale of Nvidia, but people are trying to build stuff, right? So yeah, that's their way to say, you know what, we are going to make our position much stronger.
And just a couple of more statistics, not statistics, but just numbers to put this all into context. 2025 net income for Nvidia was 72, almost $73 billion, up 145% from the previous year. Revenue was $130 billion, which was up over 100%. Fourth quarter net income was 22 billion, up 80%, and their operating income was $81 billion. So they have money to spend. I just wanted to point that out because it means like they're not taking money from one place where they desperately need it and putting into another bet that they're not sure it's going to pay off.
Mm.
They're throwing off a ton of cash right now, and they're saying, we need to invest in our own ecosystem to make sure that the things that we're creating and the things that we're building and the things that we're supporting all have a place to go.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And so then they are investing into their clients. So
Yeah. And actually, just one more thing, and then maybe we can move on to our next topic, unless you have more to say.
yep.
Well, there are a couple of things to say before we move on. One, their CFO,
Mhm.
and she puts it as this is a woman named Colette Kress, puts it into the words like that are like more eloquent than what I was just saying. NVIDIA invests where it sees a need to ensure compute capacity is being built around its hardware.
Mm.
That's the infrastructure stuff that I was talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
her
It's
words are better
hardware.
than mine, but she has media training, and I'm just a podcaster. So
You are on AGTP inside though.
I
Just to
am.
let you
That's one of the biggest shows in America. But still, you get the point.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, that's it exactly what you said, right? So we got their plan. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
And look, the one thing is some people are calling this circular funding, right? Where people are saying you're just basically pre-funding the purchase of your own stuff.
Mhm.
Frankly, like we joked about this before, but I think it's more than that. I think
Okay.
some of that money actually is they're giving it to companies so that they can buy NVIDIA hardware. But some of it is just an investment to make sure that those companies are still just like viable and going concerns and that they have enough money to build around the stuff that NVIDIA needs to survive and thrive.
But also, like, if all of a sudden a company get 2 times, 3 times, or like a certain multiplier of revenue, now all of a sudden they can hire more team, they can launch new
Sure, sure, sure.
project, they have new work, they can have new use cases, right? So all of a sudden this company can become a much bigger company just because they have a new client, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's just a fact. If you all of a sudden you have new client, more money, you can do more stuff and you can become a bigger company because you can invest into your own growth, right? So that's also possible. That's also like part of the deal here, right? Like this, basically, my point here is that they may have two ways to win, right? Like when they invest into one of their clients become their clients, so they have revenue back, but at the same time, their client can become a much bigger company because they have more income, right?
Exactly.
Which means then they win 2 times. They get a new client, and plus the company becomes a bigger company, right? So
Exactly.
so this is smart, right? Like this is the first thing that you should do as a business, I guess. That's like the vertical integration that makes ton of sense, right? Like, but here you don't buy the people that are into your ecosystem. You invest into them and you let them grow on their own, right? Which is instead of buying them, which makes ton of
Exactly.
sense to me. Which we should do, Michael. We should do that.
We
Let's
should.
let's take a few $1 billion as well and then invest into the full stack, you know?
We should do that, but I think we should make one other investment as well, at least.
Tell me.
We should buy the Mercedes F1 team, shouldn't we? I mean, really, what are we doing? You already have the hat. I mean, what are we
I already
doing?
have a hat, it's true. Which, by the way, tell you about the hat. Like, it is an interesting thing as well that is going to help F1. Do you know
What's
when I
that?
bought this hat, Michael? I didn't
Mm.
buy the latest Mercedes hat.
What
I
does that
bought
mean?
the previous year one, if I remember correctly, which, by
Why?
the way, I bought in Miami at the official F1 store.
Ah, did you really? Okay.
Yes, and I didn't buy the latest one. Do you know why? Because of FTX. FTX was one of the largest sponsors of F1.
So you wanted the FTX on the hat.
I did not want
You did not
FTX.
want it.
And that
Okay.
was just after, or like 6 months after, a couple of months after we saw it was a massive scam. And FTX was one of the largest sponsors of F1, though they have their logo there. I was like, I don't want to be like advertising for them on my head, basically.
The idea that FTX was was a sponsor of F1 just kills me.
But so this is also like to the previous story with fintech and AI. This is not going to happen. Right? Like this type of shady sponsor in F1. There is a history of
It's like the
shady sponsor in
Gambino
F1.
family. You know what I mean? It's like the Gambino family
Like
being an investor in like, it's just silliness. Sorry.
there is ton of these weird companies. Like there was a video a couple years ago of a guy who was like, you know what? Let's just look at every company that sponsor F1 and let's just look at what they do. There
What
were
they
a
do.
crazy number of ghost company. You have no information about them. There is no website. There is no clue, but they have a logo on F1.
Right.
So that was before, right? Like that was before, and I think they changed. And the fintech, the banks, like all the people that we have mentioned, and now AI are legit companies. So that's
Right.
better, right? So that's better, and we are going to have less problem of shadow sponsors, basically.
Yeah, and also well capitalized. I mean,
Yeah,
say what you will about
well
OpenAI,
capitalized.
say
Yeah.
what you will about Anthropic, but like
Mm.
they're not troubled for money.
No, that's really fun. Yeah, they have ton of money. That's why.
And they sign like literally if it's $100 million deal and they sign a 10-year deal, which is normally what these F1 sponsorships are, getting back to the F1 conversation, that's $1 billion, which
I
feels like literally like money that just like fell between the cracks in the couch, and they're just like, what should we do with this?
I wouldn't be surprised. OpenAI sponsor Red Bull for $1 billion. Exactly structure the way that you just said. 100 million per year
For
for
yeah, for
10
10
years.
years.
I
Yeah.
would. I see the headline already. Okay, let's take a bet on what's the date.
And let's take a bet when Sam Altman's kid becomes a go-kart driver.
That actually, yeah,
You don't even want to talk about it. You're just like, no, don't go there.
I see the article of Sam Altman, putting his kids to full karting and saying, yeah, like they are big fans. I want them to be a driver one day. That's why we invest into the team. Actually, yeah, they could invest into a team as well. Like they could buy a team. That would be crazy. Like the OpenAI Alpine team, for example, right? That
Yeah.
would be another crazy thing to do.
I'd love to see them buy, but they'll never buy the Red Bull team because Red Bull's never
No.
going to sell.
I
McLaren's
mean,
never like.
for the right amount of money, everybody sells, huh? Maybe, huh? The Mercedes team was reportedly at like 7 billion. It's not crazy, huh? It's
No
not,
one's going to sell it though. The
it's
prestige
too
is too
fun.
high. And
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
right.
going away. It's not like
You're right. It's too fun.
Yeah, I don't want to say what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not like another kind of team where like it could go away.
Yeah.
Like these teams are never going away. There are only 24 races a year. There are only 48 drivers. Like it's really, again, getting back to that conversation, it's very exclusive, very scarce,
Mm.
and very wealthy.
Yes, they may buy stake right into a team. That's possible. That the
That makes
same way
sense.
Petronas bought stake. I mean, invested into Mercedes, became the main sponsor. Makes ton of sense, right?
Yeah,
So, okay, we can take bet on like when is OpenAI, and let us know in the chat what is your bet when OpenAI does a big thing into F1, either a main sponsor or investing into a team.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my date because I have an idea in my head.
Okay, tell me.
Wait, I want to get the exact date.
You want the exact day? Okay.
I'm gonna say it's in the middle to the end of November of this year.
Oh, okay. So after the season end. Okay.
But it's important. What's the race that's in November?
That's Abu Dhabi, the last one.
Vegas.
Oh, that's Vegas. Okay.
November 19 to 21 is the
Okay. So
2026 Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix is scheduled for November 19 to 21, and I think after Vegas.
okay. After Vegas. Okay.
That's my bet. If they announce it this year, it's going to be after Vegas.
After Vegas for you.
Yeah, or during Vegas, but whatever, because Vegas would be a great place to make the announcement. Yeah.
Okay. So I will say Singapore for me. I'll say Singapore. To Singapore is September, and so they say they announced the deal in September to start in 2027. That's my bet. Because they need to announce like 3-4 months.
So I want
before.
somebody in the chat to keep to keep a record of this. Martin says September. I'm saying November. You can write down what you think as well.
The closest to win. The closest to win.
Closest without going over. Is that
October-
the way we do this? Like, I don't know how this works.
It's gonna be October 15, Michael.
Just right in the middle.
middle. Just
Right in the middle.
just right in the middle. But
whatever the date is right in the middle, that's where it's going to be. That's how it normally goes for you and me anyway.
Exactly, the BBA is that day, right in the middle, so there's no winner, no loser. Everybody's happy. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, who else would do like a massive deal? Include Nvidia. I don't think it makes sense for Nvidia. Could it? Maybe, huh? Maybe Nvidia, like, if they could make chips that the teams could use themselves, and they can say, hey, look, our teams run on Nvidia chips, something like
Right. So
that.
Anthropic already sponsors, yeah.
Yeah, well, Anthropic is the thinking partner of Williams,
Right.
official thinking partner of Williams.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we could maybe see something like that. Nvidia, I don't think Nvidia, more like OpenAI. I see OpenAI doing something big.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be the thinking partner for anybody. They're probably just going to buy a team. Okay, before we end, I think we're going to have to give up one topic today, but let's talk about the Q&A with Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon.
Let's do it.
Okay. Just because it fits into everything else we've been talking about. And let's just talk about what Qualcomm is first, again, just so people can get, I mean, most of the people that are viewing and listening will understand this, but Qualcomm is the company behind the Snapdragon chips. They basically power most of the Android phones. Right, Apple makes their own chips, so someone's got to make the chips for these Android phones. Snapdragon does most of them.
Okay.
And also they make chips for laptops, cars, and for wearables.
Okay.
Right, so they work really closely with the big manufacturers that aren't, the big tech manufacturers that aren't Apple.
Okay.
And the Snapdragon chips have been like pretty good.
Okay.
And Fortune sat down with Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon, and they talked about a wide range of topics. But the main thing he came up with was they talked about AI agents, this idea that there's going to be an end of smartphone dominance. It's weird, right? Like we talked about this a couple of days ago, Martin. Like your iPhone, what do you have? A 16?
What's the latest one right now?
17.
Okay, so I have 16 now.
So I think I have a 15. But like literally, I remember I picked up your phone a couple of days ago and I took it over to my recording station because I thought it was mine.
Yeah, they look exactly the same. There's not much innovation.
Unchanged, right? So like
zero.
Are we at the end of smartphone dominance? Not yet, but are we close? I would say yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting.
I
You
would
want to
say
make
yes.
another crazy bet?
Yeah, because, well, I would say this. We're at the end of smartphone innovation dominance.
Okay.
Right? But I also don't think there's going to be another platform that's going to make as much money as the Apple iPhone.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's going to dominate as much, right? Because Apple doesn't sell, I think actually now they're selling actually more phones than anybody else, but there was a time where they were still like 85% of the profits in the smartphone market and not 85% of the sales.
Like much less, right? They are like maybe Apple, Samsung and Huawei were both selling more phone than them.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they sold a whole bunch of phones on the low end, and Apple never competed there.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, so Amon, and we don't have a ton of time left, but Amon declares in this wide ranging Q&A. It's just weird for a phone chip maker to say this. That 2026 is going to be the year of agents. And I think he means AI agents. And his definition of this is that AI that understands natural language, can write code, can comprehend the world, stuff that's not just a chatbot. And I'm not saying he's late to this party, but I'm just saying that it's interesting that even a guy who's not involved in this directly at all is paying enough attention so that you can see this. And once you've got all these things put together into an agent, you can kind of tell you did this today when we were recording.
Yeah.
I was like, hey man, can you fix this thing? And you were like, yeah, give me 1 second. You're like, you went to your phone? What are you doing? And you just like started typing shit. I'm like, are you gonna do it? Is you making a note to yourself later? And you looked at me like I was insane.
Yeah, I mean, what are you talking about?
I'm running like 1,000 agents off my phone. Like, what are we doing?
So one can just fix it right now for you. That's it. It's done. By the way, it's fixed. By the way, it's fixed and it's working the way you want now.
I noticed. So thank you why am I thanking you? I should just thank the agents. They have a phone number 1-800-AGENTIC AI. That's what I'm going to call.
Why am I involved? I need to give you.
No, you definitely. I know why you're involved since I could never build it myself. But I just think it's funny that like you didn't do it, but you kind of did do it. But that's his point.
Yes, okay.
That's his point. Is that people that understand the way this works, it's now going to change the way we. And I wanted to point out that you did this on your phone because his contention here is that the smartphone era, which Qualcomm helped build, and I think Qualcomm actually had some Wi-Fi radios that sat in and some other radios that sat in Apple's thing before they started in Apple's iPhone before they started making some of their own chips, and they actually had a suit with Qualcomm, if I remember correctly, right?
Okay.
But his idea is that that's going to end.
Okay. Wow.
And I think that the idea that you couldn't, I mean, look, there are glasses coming. There's a whole bunch of other stuff coming. We know, Martin, that they've been working on contacts at the MIT lab for
Mm-hmm,
decades,
mm-hmm.
right? So I don't think that's very controversial. But his timeline, he says that he thinks phones will stop being the primary device in 2027 or 2028. He says they won't
Oh wow.
disappear, but workloads will just, and we don't know what the form factor is going to be.
Okay.
But in the same way, his contention is in the same way that tasks moved from PCs to mobile. And remember, think about the conversation that you and I were having at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, should I get a new MacBook Pro? Should I get
Yeah.
a new MacBook Air?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you decided to get neither.
Yeah. None of them. No need.
But you didn't, because when you're traveling, you do, like I saw you do this at the event, except for the stuff that we were doing to record.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
I saw you at SFF, and I also saw you at Money 2020 Asia, just like mucking around on your phone, but getting a lot
Yeah.
of stuff done. It wasn't like you were, and it wasn't like you were struggling. It wasn't like you're, oh, how can I do this? You're just like, give me a second, let me fix that.
Yeah. Especially now with AI, I have access to so much more stuff with my phone, right? Because
Yeah, yeah,
because thanks to the two things, like the chat that I have with our AI agent and also the orchestrator that I have built, so then I can just
right,
create tasks basically, and then the agent go through the task and then they just made it happen for me,
right.
right? So the interface, I use my phone for the interface to access the AI team, the AI agent, and the AI orchestrator. And to be honest, that's a much better experience than being on my computer, because
Mhm.
when you're on your computer, you sit at your desk. When you're on your phone, you can be walking outside. It's much nicer. I much prefer to be doing outside and have a coffee and talk to my agents at the coffee shop and get stuff done from there, right? So
Yeah.
so that's why I much prefer the freedom and the access that the phone gives me rather than being completely dependent on my computer.
So you see this here, and actually, I think he makes a really interesting point. You see motorcycle taxi drivers here, right?
Yeah,
And motorcycle delivery guys here. They have to wear a helmet, and they stick their phone in their helmet.
yeah.
And you're just like, is that okay? Because it could fall and stuff like that.
Yes.
But imagine, and this is why this guy, Cristiano Amon, he said he's very bullish on glasses because they sit naturally on your eyes, so you can
Mhm,
see
mhm.
things there. They're near your ears and your mouth, and they're perfect for AI that understands what you see and what you hear. And
Okay.
if voice recognition is good enough,
Mhm.
right? Imagine if today you didn't have to type what you typed onto your phone, but you could just say, hey, can we change the thing from UTC to Bangkok time?
Mhm.
Whatever the explanation was in this little domain, like whatever it was. I don't know. I
That's
don't know.
that's an interesting point. I really don't believe glasses can be bigger than the phone market, just as in my own use case. Like
Yeah.
first of all, I hate dictating to the phone. Not because it doesn't work, but just because I like to be silent. That's it. I just
Yeah.
like to
So
be
this is the
silent,
big thing for me
right?
too, is I don't
S-
mind the typing, but I
yeah,
definitely mind going like, hey, can you please buy some
exactly.
flowers for my mother for Mother's Day?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
none of anybody's business. And I don't want to hear other
exactly.
people doing it either.
Right?
Right.
So first of all, I think typing for me is the best interface to access the internet. But yeah, like as well, I just prefer to type. But whether it's my agent, whether it's to go on a website, whether it's to do whatever on the web, I just don't like to speak. I'd like to be silent and not anyone knows what I'm doing. Basically, that's much better for me. So that's why I really struggle to see a world where the glasses are going to be more important than the phone. But also like something also that I don't like personally as a client is, look, I don't have an Apple Watch. The only reason why I don't have an Apple Watch is because I don't want to have no notification on the
Yeah.
watch.
Right.
That's the only reason. Like on my phone there is no notification at all. Like if
I
anyone
know.
called me,
You at
if
least turn
anyone
on the ones
sent me
online.
something, right? Exactly. Like I have never any notification on my phone. Why? Because I want to control like when I spend time doing this type of thing, right? I want to be focused on something and then I go on my phone. That's why I don't have an Apple Watch. And that's why if I have glasses, the first thing I do is to turn off all the notification, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't want
No.
anything to be on my
No,
way
because you live in this
constantly.
dystopian world of just like, what's going on?
Constant interruption, right? Constant
Oh, yeah,
interruption.
don't need it.
If this is horrible, like if you want to be
No, no, no.
focused, if you want to get some work done, you don't want to be like, I mean, I have like, which at last time, right? I sent 7,000 emails in a year.
Ping, ping, ping. It's
So
just gonna keep going, right? You don't need this.
imagine, right? Like tin, 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 tin constantly. I mean, then I can't do anything else, right? Like, so that's why, like, I don't want the glasses for all of that. So if the assumption here is that it's going to replace the phone because it's so cool to have the notification and and the voice control and all of that, I'm like, not at all. That's exactly why I don't want to buy them.
So I'm gonna push back on this guy, and I'll tell you
Okay,
why.
tell me.
Because I don't think anybody wants to live in that world.
Yeah, yeah.
I think people are like the reason why the phone, and we call it a phone, but that mobile device that you have in your pocket or in your bag is so popular
Mhm,
is because it allows the few people that want to talk to do it through their headphones.
mhm,
It allows the people that want to type, which is I think the majority of people don't want people to know what they're talking about,
mhm, mhm.
to type in a way that's quiet because there's no clicks, yeah.
Exactly. Yep, 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 yep.
And the typewriter itself. So typing has been around since 1868.
Oh wow. Okay.
I looked it up.
Okay. Okay. So it's a old behavior, old human
It's
behavior.
been out there forever. It's during the Meiji Restoration.
Oh, okay.
Not that that means anything to most people, but I just figured I'd throw it out there.
Okay. Cool, Michael.
And
If you
all the
want.
samurais got together. It's a long story, but anyway, look up Meiji Restoration. But the point is, it's been there for a long time,
Okay. Yep.
and I frankly don't think it's going away. But I do think it's interesting that a guy who doesn't exist in the device world,
Mhm, mhm.
he exists in the phone world, is saying that he thinks that the phone is going to go away in a year or two.
Yeah. This is completely different strategy than Jensen Wang, who say every company is going to spend $500,000 in token, or they are going to be completely left over, right?
Right. So he's promoting his own company.
He promotes his own company.
Yeah,
That's what they all do.
shamelessly, shamelessly.
Like crazy. I mean, he told what in February and March he did like 25 like self crazy
Right.
promotion like that, like non-stop, like every week there was something new. And Cristiano Amon basically does the exact opposite, right? So
Right. So he also says that he thinks all of us are going to be walking cameras. I completely push back on this because I
mm,
don't want, like, even today, Martin, when I'm walking like to the gym,
yeah,
if I see people even in the gym filming stuff,
yeah, I don't like it.
we've had this conversation
Yeah,
before.
I don't
People
like
have
it.
gotten into fights in the gym.
Yeah.
Don't
Also, we've
don't film
seen
it.
we've seen people, yeah, exactly. People saying that, hey, I don't want to be in your film, right? I don't want to be in your video. This is
Yeah, I don't want
completely
to be in your video. Whoever you are, I don't want to be in your
exactly.
video.
I don't think anyone wants that. I don't think it's gonna be that important. That's true, yeah. I don't think so.
So, and they asked him about this. They said, like, what do you think about the privacy
Mm.
factors here? And he said, useful technology wins adoption. And I just don't think in this case that it's that useful.
It's not that useful. I mean, maybe there's some cool use cases, but I think it's I mean, I was actually looking at some videos, Michael, over the weekend about the meta glasses,
Yep.
because
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I'm intrigued, to be honest, right? Like the numbers are huge. They sell a lot of them, right? It
Yeah.
looks like a cool tech. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to buy some, right? Just to know what's going on, basically, right? Which I'm very impressed by that you are not the one who said that, because you are the one who say we need
I'm
to buy
always buying
that.
shit. I think we've switched actually.
Actually, it's true.
I think we've definitely switched. I
It's
can't
true.
remember the last time I called you and said, "Can I buy this thing?" But I can remember the last time you called me and said, "Can I buy another one of those
It's
streamer
true.
X's?"
Actually, it's true. We have switched, Michael. Shit, it's not good.
Not only am I a terrible influence on you,
It's
I'm
true.
such a terrible influence on you. I'm only a good influence on myself, and you've retained my bad
It's
influence.
true.
It's not working,
You
man.
have not bought a MacBook Pro since like since 2 years, Michael. What happened to
What
you?
am I doing?
What happened to you? But yeah, but so yes. So my point was, I wanted to check what it was, and I looked at a few video, and I was like, yeah, it was like the one feature that everybody told about is the cameras, like just to be able to film and everything. And I don't really
Mhm.
care about that. Like, look, on my phone, the cameras, it's super advanced. I have three lenses and all of that. I don't care at all. I've never
When my
taken
cameras
taken
are
any
broken,
pictures.
do you know what I mean? Like I drop my
Yeah,
phone and my cameras are broken.
like
I don't care. I
there's
mean, they
probably like a
work
lot
and
of
stuff.
people who love taking pictures and love taking videos and stuff, but it's not my use case at all, right? And
So if I were going to make a bigger bet on what the next big
Mm,
tech platform is going to be, I
okay.
would say it's automobiles.
Yeah, actually, I really agree with that. I would say it's going to be huge and be BYD is going to dominate like
Dominate for now, yeah.
crazy, like crazy.
Yeah, because there's no American company that's ready to dominate. You can call Tesla whatever you
Europe,
want, but, like,
even European, even American, like nobody's
yeah,
ready for what's
they're not
gonna.
they're not ready for what's gonna happen.
Nope, 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 nope. It's gonna take them a lot of time before they can catch up. Thankfully, they have the regulation behind them, right? Like the
Mhm.
states themselves, they are helping the car company to not be completely left behind. So we are not in a fully free market here, right?
Yep.
But that's good for them, because otherwise BYD would just crush everybody, right? And I completely agree. There is so much potential on the cars, right? But to be honest, like it's more like a question of connectivity than it is a question of engine. Even in like a gas-powered car, you can put a chip, you can connect to the internet, you can do
I
all of
agree,
these
I
things,
agree, I
right?
agree, I agree.
So it's not like because it's an electric car that it's going to be connected between the platform. No, 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 no. So, but maybe it's more like the idea, like the directionality, the innovation that's going into the car, right? Like the
Mm,
talent pool, the teams, the mindset of just doing something new
yeah.
is on the BYD side right now, right? Like they are crazy at creating new things. And so
Yep.
yeah, when you talk about okay, let's build something new with cars, I believe about like I trust them to have ideas much more than the other guys.
And there's one more thing that I forgot, but I wanna
Mhm,
say this, and then maybe we can call it a day here.
mhm, mhm.
Robots.
Yeah,
Much more
robots is
likely than
interesting.
glasses to be like the next big, gigantic, multi-billion, maybe multi-trillion-dollar platform. Because cars already exist. A lot of
Yeah,
things are gonna change inside the cars.
yeah.
Robots don't humanoid robots that, like, with not general use, but, like, mass use,
Mhm.
even not mass market use, but just, like, a lot of use, enterprise use doesn't exist yet. That's gonna be a gigantic platform.
You know what I think about robots? Maybe it's gonna be the same as AI. Like they've been working on AI for what, 20 years at least? It's been a while.
50,
50
50,
years. It's been a while, right?
60, yeah, but a long time, yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
pretty much the same time that we talked about robots. Like we like my point is that before AI became ChatGPT and known by the entire world, right? There was
Mhm.
really little discussion about AI. So right now, robots, they don't work yet, right? They are not at the point where they work, but we talk a lot about them. So maybe it creates this misunderstanding of robots just are not going to be there. But maybe
They
we are
are.
going to visit the same thing when we're going to have one breakthrough at some point, one use case that's just going to be
Yeah, yeah.
insane, right?
Right.
The same way ChatGPT was an amazing day one product, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
all of a sudden, the entire world could access AI. And maybe we are going to see the same thing with robots, right? Like just one use case, one crazy thing that's just going to be a massive breakthrough, and all of a sudden, robots are going to be like, of course, the of course type of thing,
Yeah, exactly.
and then boom, massive growth, and maybe we are going to see the same thing. And to be honest, it makes ton of sense. And we start to see like more and more either investments or use cases, big companies trying to build them, trying to see how that goes. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised that at some point it works. Mhm.
Okay. We don't have time for our last topic. Why don't we
Oh,
stop now? I know,
once
we'll get
again,
to it.
once again. I feel like we are killing the last topic very often.
Didn't Jimmy Kimmel do this all the time? He's like, "Look, Matt Damon was supposed to be on the show tonight, but we just didn't have enough time for it." He did this for, like, a whole year in a row.
Okay.
Matt Damon was not supposed to be on this show tonight, just so everybody knows. That's
No,
not
but
what I'm implying here.
our last topic was insane. Our last topic was maybe like the most important topic of ever. So
Maybe
not
ever.
not 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 for today. Come back tomorrow, and maybe
Hopefully, we have time to talk about it tomorrow.
if we have time after we will talk about it.
Okay, that's it today for AGTP Daily. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Give us a thumbs up on today's video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us in the algorithm. And follow us on all of our socials, on X, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. Let us know in the comments if there's anything else you want us to cover, and ask us questions. We will be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Michael Waits. That is Martin.